Come to order. Welcome to the City Commission meeting. We've got a fairly large agenda tonight, so we'll try to move forward, move through it as quickly as possible. Start with, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Commissioner Allen?
Present.
Commissioner Norwood?
Here.
Commissioner Siragusa?
Here.
Commissioner Roberts? Here. Commissioner Orr?
Here.
Mayor Pinkine will not be in attendance this evening, and Mayor Pro Tem Stallings?
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
All right, we'll start with the invocation. Ms. Porter is going to give us the invocation, followed by Commissioner Roberts will do the flag salute.
Just stand and pray with me. Father God, what an opportunity to stand with my fellow citizens of my beloved city, Enid, Oklahoma, and to entreat you on our behalf. We thank you for this opportunity. We ask that you bring your Holy Spirit into this meeting, that everything that's said and done tonight be according to your plan and your purpose for Enid, Oklahoma. We pray for peace. We pray for unity in Jesus' name. And if you all would just pray the Lord's Prayer with me together. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Your kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Thank you.
Please join me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Each of you should have received a copy of the minutes from the previous meeting. Entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Oh.
All in favor?
6-0.
All right.
Carry 6-0.
Carried 6-0. Awards, presentations, proclamations, and organizational business. Have a pet available for adoption. Pretty dog.
Come here, Chewy. So tonight I brought Chewy. Chewy was an owner surrender, no fault of his own. He is a 4-year-old pit bull terrier. He's lived with kids, so he's good with kids. He's lived with other dogs, so he's good with other dogs. And he's even potty trained. He is super sweet, super loving. He's just your typical goofy pit bull with a really fun sense of humor. And he loves people. I mean, he's super friendly. He likes to meet anybody and everybody that he can. And he is available in Pen 18. You ready?
Or tonight, if somebody wants to take him, right?
I mean, I will gladly let somebody take him home tonight.
Doesn't look like we have any takers at this point, but you never know. The next item is a presentation from the Daughters of American Revolution. It's a proclamation and recognizing September 17th and through September 23rd as Constitution Week. And I think we have some folks here that want to come
Yes,
forward.
Cynthia Smith, and if you would come on up with all of your folks, Connie, and I'm sorry, the nice lady that's in the period costume, I'm sorry, didn't remember your name, but I appreciate your effort. It's outstanding. If you just come on right up here and stand right here. And
I will try to read this proclamation to the best of my ability. Whereas the date of September 17 marks the 235th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. And whereas the Daughters of American Revolution would like to properly and officially recognize this magnificent document and the anniversary of its creation, and whereas it is fitting and proper to officially recognize the patriotic celebrations which will commensurate the occasion, and whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designated September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore I, and George Pinkerton's name in there, but I, Rob Stallings, Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Enid, Oklahoma, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through September 23rd, 2022 as Constitution Week.
That's good.
And you're welcome to make a comment if you'd like.
My name is Cynthia Smith, and I am the regent for the Enid chapter, Daughters of American Revolution. And we just celebrated in March this year our 109th anniversary, and we are known as one of the oldest organizations in Enid and Garfield County. And we celebrate Constitution Week, and I'm going to let Jeanette Adriano tell you a little bit about what we do for Constitution Week.
I have Constitution books for the council. Our purpose is to present the Constitution to school children. So we have scheduled several schools to go into the 5th grade, and we kind of explain why the Constitution was needed and why it was set up. Because remember, as a 10-year-old, you really don't have a lot of background. But I like to teach them that we are learners every day and that we need to work at learning and participating. And so we give the Constitution book. And one of the things that I do at the end of my presentation, I tell them, George Washington signed this. And you can see on the back his signature. And there's a line, and there gives you the permission to learn as much as you can from this book, and that you promise that you will look at it. And so that's what I give to the 5th graders. The 4th graders, we give the preamble, because that's one of the state requirements, that children learn the preamble. And so we give them a little bookmark so that to help them remember. And 1st graders, they're just learning, you know, and they're learning the pledge, and they're becoming patriotic. And I like to give them the bookmark of the Pledge of Allegiance. And I always like to lead them in that and say, now you have a bookmark that you can use when you get into chapter books, which you do in 1st grade. So that's what we're doing here in Enid, and we've had a good response. You know, we've had 2 years of not going into the classroom, but we're going into several classrooms this year here in Enid. And then I grew up in Grant County, Waukeeta, so I always make sure that Grant County's students are covered. So I even during the pandemic, I got to go in and say a few words there. And so I live in Arizona normally, but I grew up, like I said, in Waukeeta. So I'm part of you.
Thank you, Jeanette. We have 1,000 of the Constitution books to give out this year. So thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Cynthia, you guys are going to be aren't some of you going to be at the library next week?
Yes, we
Outstanding.
are. We're going to be there tomorrow.
Great.
We're going to have a display, Constitution display.
Great.
Next item on the agenda is for public comment, and you've got a list of the folks signed up. I know that during the study session, most of the gentlemen you signed up, and I'm assuming you guys don't want to talk again? Okay. So I'm going to skip the first 5 of you, so.
Mayor, you may want to mention that after people speak tonight, they can leave if they want to, or they'd have to stay during the whole meeting. I see one of our Cynthia's leaving, so you might not want to get trapped in this room, so. Hey, Jason.
Well, we don't have an abundance of people signed up. I would tell you that we're changing our process just a bit. Our assistant city manager is going to be keeping the time. In the past, we've let the mayor do it, and I think it's more appropriate if Scott does it. And we're going to allot you a couple of minutes to talk, and he will tell you when your time is up. So the first one is our esteemed Ward 6 Commissioner, and I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just want to take a couple of minutes and address some concerns I had about the meeting we had last on August 16th, where we voted to contribute $250,000 to the after-school programs. And I'm not going to get into the merits of social programs or lack thereof. I want to address the process that we had as a city commission to how that ended up on the agenda. I know when we sold the bank building, we had discussed other ways to help the after-school programs, and then fast forward to a June 6th study session, we discussed it. And at the end of that study session, I think the Mayor Pinconen had several questions about the fairness of handpicking certain organizations for general funds based solely on previously submitted applications to the Community Development Block Grant. And after that meeting, I was under 100% impression that we were going to discuss that again. And it never got discussed again, and here it showed up on the August meeting that we had just a few weeks ago on August 16th. But I just hope that in the future, and it was obvious that there were a couple of commissioners, myself included, who were kind of in the dark about how that process worked. And these were city funds, these were general funds. I think if we're going to do that, I think we all should have a say in who gets it, and just to make that a fair process, an application process. And to further, I know we gave away $250,000, which was above and beyond what the CBDG after-school programs were asking for. I think I added it up. I think the total to plug the gap between what organizations asked for and what they got was that was 156. We ended up giving away about an extra $100,000. But my main concern is that it wasn't discussed again, and it was just kind of decided by 3 people who sit on the Community Development Block Grant Board who were going to be the recipients of that $250,000, and that concerned me a little bit. And I hope going forward in the future that we can be a little bit more clear and a little bit more involve everybody on what's going on and who we're giving that money away to. I was just surprised to see it on the agenda when I read over it a day or two prior, and without further discussion after our study session on June 6th. So I hope going forward that we can be a little bit more transparent about those processes and include everybody on who's going to get the money, and let everybody have a say as far as the city commission goes when we're giving away general funds. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Ms. Norwood.
Good evening, commissioners and all of our officials in the city of Enid. I just wanted to say thank you for helping with the after-school programs for the low-income children. It provides opportunities for them to move forward in life. It builds their self-esteem. It really builds up we're dealing a lot with LCL and the benefits, the things that we've went through with COVID, and I just want to say thank you for all that you all do, that our taxpayer money is used for a good cause, and the cause is to build up our fellow young people and to give them hope. I was just looking at this, it's a trend for the city of Enid to help the low income, or not even just the low income, but the youth. And I was looking at the soccer complex. There was an article in April of this year. It said the city of Enid also has spent over $3.6 million on infrastructure support for this soccer complex. So that means that you're invested in helping our youth, and we appreciate that. The organizations that you helped on, August 16th, it will be beneficial in helping our students to move forward and to be strong and become viable citizens in Enid, Oklahoma. Thank you.
James McBride.
How y'all doing this evening? I was here on August the 2nd expressing my concerns about the property, Mulberry Square, where Sherwin-Williams Lock Dollar General is. You're putting that patio restaurant in there. Our backyard goes into the back. And I talked with code enforcement, Scott and Brenda. They're going by the process. The owner of the property was cited, was letters delivered and everything. And it's going to let code enforcement run the course, just let the process go through, until I found out yesterday several things. And Commissioner Allen and I go back quite a ways, and Jerry was good. After I was here on August the 2nd, he came by and we walked that area down, and we both agreed that there could be some improvement. Well, I found out that Jerry walked that area down with the property owner, and he told him that he'd get it taken care of. Well, it ain't happening. Nothing. As a matter of fact, it's worse now than it was. So what I'm saying is the property owner of that, on the record, has been very reluctant over the years with cooperating with code enforcement. It's always a push, push, push. And right here, we've addressed a few things, and I came up with, I thought, some solutions, like filling in that truck pit and building a cubicle for the dumpsters and all that stuff. He shot that down. He said, nope, not filling that truck pit in. So I'm kind of at a loss right here as far as what's going to be the solutions when we get that restaurant in there and we have more trucks, more dumpsters, more solid waste pickup, the whole 9 yards. What I'm trying to avoid is what we had back in '79 when BestJet was there, and we had a whole lot of problems with rodents and all that. So when I found this out yesterday, it didn't set well with me, because I can see this is going to be an oncoming deal. So that's why I'm here tonight, as far as trying to prevent problems back there in that alley. And then one other thing is, I inquired about the sewer lines back through there. Those sewer lines, I did my research, those sewer lines were put in '52. Since '52, got 60 residentials on that. Got numerous commercial businesses. Got 4 restaurants, fixing to be 5 restaurants. According to the flow charts and everything, the comfort zone on a normal flow through that line is 50%. We allow that extra cushion for spikes and everything. According to our figures and everything, we've come up with 60% right now. Now we're going to throw a restaurant on there. So I've got concerns about the alley, truck traffic, the dumpsters, the sewer lines, and the alley not being cleaned up and maintained. I've got cooperation with the Dollar General manager. I've got cooperation with the Sherwin-Williams manager, and they have addressed some stuff back there themselves. But they've also said in the last month, they've contacted the property owner 3 or 4 times. He's missing in action. So just throwing it out there to kind of give an update and everything. We'll see what code enforcement does, but I think that if we can't have a cooperation with the property owner, I think it's going to be an oncoming problem. So that's what I'm up here tonight for.
Well, we appreciate your comments. A couple days after you were here before, I took my wife on a tour of that She wasn't very impressed either. But we will stay on top of this until we
Okay, I appreciate it.
because I do recognize, probably like Commissioner Allen, that it needs some help.
Okay. I thank you for going by there and looking at that. I appreciate that. And Jerry, I appreciate you coming by and then our conversation, everything. I appreciate it. I really do. So we'll see what happens.
Thank you for coming.
That's all I got.
You bet. That's all I have signed up unless,
Maria Eves. We have one over there. Maria Eves.
oh, I'm sorry.
And we have 3 over here.
Oh, you got some more? Okay. We're going to be here for a while. I'm sorry, Ms. Eves, I went by your name. You're up.
Hi, good evening. I'm Maria Eves. I'm here to comment and thank the council for their contribution to the after-school programs. I'm a parent that has utilized the Booker T program over the last several years for both my older children who are in their 20s now and grown-up adults, and my 2 boys who are teenage youth at this time. And the program has been a great benefit to me. One comment that stood out to me when I was watching the meeting over the TV was somebody made the comment, why don't you take this money that you're giving to these after-school programs and use it to teach these people how to be better parents? And I took exception to that, and I just wanted to remind this council and the other citizens here that are listening or aware of this, that the people who utilize these programs are working parents. We drive this local economy and contribute to this local economy. We are taxpayers just like everybody else. And when you are investing in these programs, you are investing in your working class citizens, and you are helping this economy. You are helping us contribute to this economy. So I don't want that to get lost. I don't think equating poverty with being bad is okay. And so I want to just remind the council of that. That being said, I am grateful that the city contributes to these programs. They are needed. And I look forward to their continued contribution in the future. I myself am also a parent board member of the Booker T program, so not just a person who utilizes these programs. I invest my time and my efforts in these programs as well because I believe in building community, and that's what we're doing at Booker T. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. Clifford Porter.
Clifford here? Oh, he might be in the hallway. Is Clifford in the hallway?
Clifford in the hallway.
Haven't seen him tonight.
Don Jacks.
I'll make it real quick. I, too, am on the board at Booker T and have been for 6 years, and thought it would just be helpful for the council to throw in a few comments and sit back down. First of all, thank you very much. With regard to the additional funds that would come from this, it's more than necessary this year because of COVID. Booker T has historically been staffed by the elders of the community. And though it's paid staff, with the COVID difficulties, we're going to have to do it with younger personnel, which means that our cost structure is going to change over that. The other point that I wanted to make is that even throughout this, we have maintained the doors being open for Carver's Head Start program. Basketball teams have been through there. We have renovated the basement. We now have Wheat Heart Nutrition in there since June. All of that took plans that began about a year ago. You now have about 20 to 30 people a day taking meals in the facility and having fellowship, along with another 100 or so that are distributed out of it. We're additionally adding potentially a Marshallese after-school program that's coming this fall. And so this is not throwing good money after bad, and there's a lot of activity that's going on behind the scenes that may be silent to a lot of the rest of the community. Thank you very much for the vote that you all made.
Thank you for coming. Valerie Toombs?
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm just going to actually ditto what has already been spoken. First of all, I want to thank you guys for the tremendous work that you guys are doing. Every time I leave my apartment, I just have to smile because on every block, there's progression that's being made. And my soul is happy, it is. But I just need one little favor. Since you guys are already over here, we have a few streets that have cracks in them or whatever, and weeds are growing up in the streets. And I really just want to invite you guys to take a tour in Southern Heights and the East Side. You would be surprised. Then this business owner, she posted a picture of the unkept trash at the basketball court across from St. Mary's. And I'm like, who's responsible for that trash? Who's responsible for the cleanup of that park? See, you know, there's certain things that I believe the city can do, you know. Matter of fact, have the kids do it. You know, give them an incentive. You know, some T-shirts or something. You know, fill up that little idle time. You know, get them off those tablets and computers. You know, and I just really, really want you guys to take a hands-on look at Southern Heights and the condition of the streets. There are weeds this high on the slides. There used to be a tree cleaning. I don't know what happened to that. But since you already have the guys over there anyway, would you accommodate us, please? We would really appreciate it. And I'm telling you, we're going to implement a lot of programs in Booker T. The Marshallese kids are already knocking on my door. Can we go today? Can we go today? You know, so the participation is going to be outstanding. The senior citizen program, we're going to try to implement an exercise, sit-down exercise program for the senior citizens. You know, there's a lot going on. Booker T is going to be up and popping pretty soon. You know, you guys just be patient with us and help us out every now and then, okay? But thank you guys, really, for everything you've done thus far. Thank you so much.
We'll move into item 6, community development. The first item is a hearing. We're going to have a hearing to consider the rezoning of property located at 1407 South 4th Street from R3 Residential Mobile Home Neighborhood District to R3 Residential Mobile Home Neighborhood District with a planned unit development overlay for a recreational vehicle trailer for living facilities, and approve the master development plan and a final site plan and PUD statement.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. This is the location at 1407 South 4th. You'll see it here. You'll see that there's a vacant lot to the north. To the south, there's a little building. Across the street, there's a mobile home, a regular mobile home. You'll see where the water is in 4th Street and the sewer is behind the lot. And Mr. Lassiter would like to have the PUD overlay in order to allow his recreational vehicle to be in this location. I have a layout of where his RV would be, and you'll see that he would be putting in a concrete driveway approach to that location, and that's approximately where his RV will be. And then we have a photograph of his RV, and also this is a photograph of the vacant lot currently. And we have, this is the existing electrical pole. and then this is his PUD statement. The Planning Commission met on this. They unanimously approved it. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer that. Also, Mr. Lassiter is here.
Are there any questions about this item?
Move to approve.
Second?
This is a hearing.
Oh, dang, we got anxious. It's the next one. My fault.
That's okay.
I'm bad.
That's okay.
I should know better.
Well, if there are no questions, we will move on to 6.2. 6.2 is consider of an ordinance approving a PUD, Master Development Plan, Final Site Plan, and PUD Statement to allow a recreational vehicle trailer for living facilities located in 1407 South 4th Street.
I'll move to approve.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Would you cast your votes, please? And it passes 6-0, or 6-1.
He's made the same mistake. Yeah.
Math there. Item 7 is administration. The first item, 7.1, is consider a resolution accepting the Federal Aviation Administration Grant Agreement, AIP 3-40-0028-033-2022, in the amount of $2,186,158 for the Enid Woodring Regional Airport for project number A-2201, reconstruct runway 1331, and authorize the mayor to execute necessary documents.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Appreciate your time this evening. This is my first item on this. It is a FAA grant, covers 90% of the cost of the project. It's a just under $2.2 million grant. Project total is $2.4 million. Be glad to answer any questions about the project.
Move to approve.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. If you would cast your votes, please. And that passes 6-0. Item 7.2, consider the approval of a grant application, and upon approval of a said application, approval of the execution of an agreement with the Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission for grant WDG 23-FS in the amount of $121,453 for project number A-2201 to reconstruct runway 1331 at the Enid Woodring Regional Airport, and authorize the mayor to execute necessary documents.
Move to approve.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. That passes 6-0. Item 7-3, consider a resolution authorizing the submission of a grant proposal and application to the Office of Local Defense Community Cooperation, Department of Defense for the Defense Community Infrastructure Program, DCIP, in the amount of $2,847,000, and upon approval of this said application, authorize the mayor to execute all agreement documents.
Yes, this is an application. I believe Stephen was the one that filled it out, but I'll be glad to answer any questions on it. This
Come on over, Stephen. You're smiling. You deserve some credit for writing this stuff up.
Hello. We have applied for Phase 2, which is the official application. We should find out if we are awarded and total the application on September 21st. And then we'll be able to begin proceeding with the projects. So we applied on the 18th of August, I believe it was, and so this was round 2 that we'll be applying for, and then if awarded, we'll need the mayor's approval and signatory authority to finalize any agreements with the Department of Defense on that project. So, any questions? No?
Thank you for your work.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Please cast your vote.
What, Stephen, go back over there, because this is a big deal. I don't want to vote there. We need it. Keston, get the camera on these guys. They didn't know each other, and they took jobs that they didn't know what they were going to do, but they have done great things for this community, and we're going to expect it from you from here on out. You've set a very high standard for our fair community, and we appreciate the good work you're doing. We'll continue on here, but I just wanted to really point out both you guys are doing a great job for our fair city. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, and I would just follow up. Keston already knows what I'm going to say, and Stephen, I'll lump you in too. You guys are doing such a good job getting all this money for the airport and other related projects. We're going to put you in charge of getting some more street funding. So congratulations, extra duty coming.
We'll do our best.
Thank you.
All right, we're moving on to 7.5. Consider awarding a contract subject to the 7.4. Consider approval of an amended and restated funding agreement between the Oklahoma Development Finance Authority and the city of to combine a previous approved $2,500,000 cash incentive by the Oklahoma Department of Commerce and $101,750,000 recently approved cash incentive to assist in funding the Woodring Regional Airport's infrastructure project, and authorize the mayor to execute necessary documents.
Yes, this is a large grant that was received with the help of both.
Yeah, Lisa, why don't you come on up, because you made this one happen with your work with Commerce. And you and Keston can explain, we're getting more money. It's
Yes.
great.
So this is a large grant that Lisa helped us acquire. I don't know if you want me to talk about the project.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I wasn't planning to say anything.
Yes. Projects are the new joint use hangar for the airport. It's 120 foot by 120 foot. This is part of the funds that also the DSIP application will cover the other half of. And then also a south ramp reconstruction, which is one of our largest ramps at the airport, but is actually in the worst shape. So this will be able to tear out, replace that ramp with new concrete, and also replace the hangars on the south side of the airport, which have been a long time worst hangars at the airport. They're our cheapest and they flood. So a great opportunity to replace those and get some high quality hangars down there. Be the first hangar development out at the airport for small general aviation aircraft in over 50 years.
Lisa, tell us about your connections at Commerce. You helped make this happen. In fact, you really made it happen with the PPP program. It's a great program for us, and I bet we're going to use it again after we successfully use this, so tell us all about it.
The legislature a few years back amended an existing program that was called the P3 or PPP program, which allows for public infrastructure that's owned by a municipality or a government for funds to be directed to infrastructure projects. It says, oh, good grief, I wasn't planning to talk about this, so let me think. So it allows for the withholding tax from employers who benefit from the infrastructure development that's owned by a public municipal entity to go towards funding that project that they would benefit from. So, and that's a long way of saying that because we have private contractors as employers out at Vance Air Force Base, we were able to use the withholding taxes from those employers to help direct funds to offset some of the costs for the projects at the airport, because they benefit directly Vance Air Force Base, as well as many others who use the airport, but yes, so.
Well, and you're being very modest. You and ERDA did a fantastic job. You're the reason we really got this, and part of it was we'd gotten it originally for the dorm, and I'm not
Correct,
sure.
right.
I think you had to pioneer the process to get us to transfer that money over, because I think that's already been collected, waiting for us to draw, and that's great.
That is correct. That's the reason for the strange wording in this agenda item about previously approved and newly approved. And so some of the funding had been previously set aside to rebuild a dormitory out at Vance Air Force Base. And due to some rules that were not changed at the federal level, we were not allowed to do that. And so we were permitted to reallocate those funds towards these projects at Woodring, as well as add some additional funds to that. So.
Well, thank you. It's great. Great
Yeah,
projects for the
very
city.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion, we have a second. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes, please. It passes 6-0. Item 7.5, consider awarding the contract subject to the receipt of FAA OAC grants to Contact Inc., Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, for project number A-2201, reconstruct runway 1331 in the amount of $2,230,215, and authorize the mayor to execute all contract documents.
Yes, this is, oh, go ahead.
Move to approve.
Second.
Anybody want to talk? Cast your votes. 6-0.
You saved money. You saved nearly $1 million too.
Yes,
Good job.
came in $1 million lower than the asphalt bid did, so very happy with it.
Like you're earning your pay tonight.
Yes.
Item 7.6, consider approval of Amendment 7 to the owner-engineer agreement with Park Hill Smith and Cooper, Inc. in the amount of $191,850 to provide grant administration and services necessary to redress runway 1331 in concrete, and authorize the mayor to execute necessary documents.
Move to approve. This is where he saved us the $1 million by changing it over to concrete.
Yes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. That's a 6-0. Item 7.7, consider approval of a resolution amending the 2022-2023 airport fund by appropriating additional funds in the amount of $2,429,065 to increase the 2022-2023 appropriated amounts for the airport department.
Yes, Mayor and Commissioners, you've heard about the majority of the funding from the OAC and FAA. The $121,000 that's our share is available in fund balance in the airport at this time. So we need all the funds to appropriate to follow through with the 2 contracts that you just approved.
Move to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. Passes 6-0. Item 7.8, consider a resolution amending the 2022-2023 general fund budget by appropriating funds in the amount of $80,000 to increase the 2022-2023 appropriated amounts for the general fund equipment replacement department.
Yes, Mayor and Commissioner, we had a private citizen come forward and give a donation for $80,000 for us to be able to replace the equipment at Muncie's Park. And there's a companion item in consent for us to actually award that contract and get that going.
Before we vote on this, I think it's appropriate that we recognize Ms. Muncie. She's here tonight, and her generous contribution to the city of Enid and for the Muncie's Park is making this happen, and we would like for you to come forward, and we've got a few things.
Thank you, Corey. Come forward too and introduce her and tell everybody that she is definitely a friend of the city. Tell them what she has done for the city.
Oh, you're. So I'd like to introduce everybody to Pat Muncie. She is definitely a friend of the city. She reached out to me 4 or 5 months ago, and I got a little backstory on Muncie's Park that I didn't know of myself. So it is named after her wonderful husband, Charles, and the play equipment there is a little outdated. And she reached out and she said, I'd like to help you guys upgrade the park. And I thought, well, that's amazing. So I've met with her a few different times since then, back in April. So she's a wonderful lady. I'm glad to have met you and got to know you. And thank you very much. And if you'd like to say anything at all, you're welcome. You don't have to.
Corey, could you let everybody know where Muncie's Park is? Not everybody knows exactly where it is.
So Muncie's Park is the 1700 West James on the one-way roads over there off of Randolph. A lot of people know it as the BMX bike track park. So.
And Mr. Muncie's gave the land to the city.
That's correct.
Many years ago.
That's correct, yes. And it was officially named Muncie's Park in 2005, I think I heard you say.
Yes, it
Okay.
was. It was dedicated, my husband donated to the city for their use, and they decided to make a park out of it. And it was
it was put together and it was inaugurated right before, about 2 months before his death in 2005. And he wanted to make it for the kids in the community. And at that time, there wasn't the nice park at the school or the nice park over on Main Street. But anyway, he wanted to do that for the kids over on the north side of Randolph. So it was his idea, and he wanted to do that for the city and for the community. And I appreciate everything that Corey's done to help me with this. And it sounds to me like the city's going to be putting some money into it too. And it's going to be a very nice park, and I hope that brings a lot of fun for the community there. Not only the kids, but the parents. They go there and have picnics and things. So it's going to be very nice, and I appreciate Corey's efforts putting this together for me. So thank you very much.
And we have for you the key to the city. And I'm not sure which door it'll open, but I'm sure it'll open any door you want to go through.
Well, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Move to approve on 7.8.
We're on 7.8, and you've made a motion, and we have a second. So if you would cast your vote on item 7.8. Passes 6. 7.9, consider a resolution amending the 2023 general fund budget by appropriating additional funds in the amount of $302,755 to increase the 2022-2023 appropriated amounts for the general fund transfer department, and amending the 2022-2023 fire fund budget by appropriating additional funds in the amount of $302,755 to increase the 2022-2023 appropriated amounts for the fire department.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. It passes 6-0.
New roof.
Item 7-10, consider a resolution authorizing the Enid Municipal Authority, EMA, to purchase a letter of credit for right-of-way bonding as required by the Bureau of Indian Affairs, BIA, and renew annually during the term of the right-of-way.
Yes, Mayor and Commissioners, it is a requirement that the City Council authorizes the EMA to enter into any debt instrument, which includes this letter of credit for the BIA. So we just have to have a resolution authorizing the EMA to buy that letter of credit.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. 6-0, it passes. Item 8 are the consent items. Are there any items that anyone would like to pull before we vote on the consent items and talk about individually?
Move to approve all consent items.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the consent items. Please cast your votes. Takes us down to item 9. Correct? We want to recess to convene as the Enid Municipal Authority. As trustees of the Enid Municipal Authority regular meeting, all are in attendance except for the mayor. The Enid Municipal Authority regular meeting, 11.1, approved change order number 1 for repairs to the final clarifier at the wastewater treatment plant, project number S-2208C by the Sole Source Repair Company, Evoca Water Technologies LLC out of Waukesha, Wisconsin, in the amount of $6,139.
Come on up and tell us what we're doing out there, David.
Yeah, if the council actually approved the repairs in the clarifier previously, and it was the approval of the repair of the gear shift mechanism and the final clarifier, and the retrofitting and refurbishing of the old ones so we could have it on the shelf. We sent it over to Evoqua. They got it out of the, they got it out of the box, and it's kind of like when your mechanic looks at your car and says, I said it was going to be this much, but I found a few more things. And the gear shift was a little bit stripped on the bottom, and they're going to have to do a little bit more work. So the original $136,000 just has to be increased by that $6,000 so they can increase the refurbished gear shift. This will give us a second gear shift redundant on the shelf so that if we have a repair in the future, we won't have to spend a lot of money and we can get it fixed very quickly versus having to, go through the process of having to do POs and orders and everything else. So it actually is an investment in our infrastructure ahead of time.
I applaud your foresight. I move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. Passes 6-0. Item 11.2, consider the sole source purchase of components for the AMI water meter system from Core and Main LP, St. Louis, Missouri, for the period of July 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, in the amount not to exceed $500,000.
Yes, Mayor and Commissioners, this is an item that has previously been approved in our budget. We have $600,000 allowed every year to continue to upgrade our meter system, and this is allowing us to get that done quickly. We normally spend that money in smaller chunks, but we have been informed by our manufacturer that due to supply chain issues, that our orders now on the meters that we need, if we order them now, won't come in until March. And so we decided, rather than doing smaller chunks of how we spend that money, that we needed to get a large order in, and that's why this item is here tonight.
And it's in the budget. Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. It passes 6-0. Item 11.3, consider approval of the purchase of a letter of credit with Security National Bank of Enid, Oklahoma for right-of-way requirements as required by the BIA, Bureau of Indian Affairs, in the amount of $500 and renew annually during the term of the right-of-way.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. Passes 6-0. Approval of claims in the amount of $1,370,904.59.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. Passes 6-0. Adjourn to convene as the Enid Economic Development Authority. Trustees of the Enid Economic Development Authority regular meeting. They're all in attendance except for the mayor. Enid Economic Development Authority regular meeting. Approval of claims in the amount of $14,863.26.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. 6-0, it passes 6-0. Item 15, adjourn to convene as the Enid Public Transportation Authority. Trustees of the Enid Public Transportation Authority regular meeting. All are in attendance except for the mayor. Enid Public Transportation Authority regular meeting. Approval of claims in the amount of $4,074.65.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Please cast your votes. Passes 6-0. Adjourn to reconvene as the Enid City Commission. Executive Session 19.1. Considering convening into executive session at the recommendation of the city attorney pursuant to 25 OS 307C11 economic development to discuss the development of proposals for an entertainment development, department store, a redevelopment of a property on Garrett Road, to engage in confidential communication between the public body and its attorney, because disclosure would seriously impair the ability of the public body to proceed with these matters in the public interest, and reconvene into regular session to take any necessary action.
Move to go into executive session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to go into executive session. Please cast your votes.